All right, everybody, we're going to get started. All righty. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is May the 10th, 2025, and this is the Columbus, Ohio chapter for the American Council of the Blind May monthly meeting. I am the president, Janae Miller. I'd like to welcome everybody. I want to first say that this meeting is being recorded for our wonderful YouTube channel. So anything that you say during this meeting will be out there in the public domain for public consumption. So just be mindful and be professional, because we are a professional organization, even though we are a social group as well. I'm going to allow Sean to do some Zoom etiquette just as a refresher to everybody before we take attendance. So Sean?
All right, just really quickly, if you've come in and have not chosen the got it or okay button to indicate that you are consenting to being recorded, you will not be able to unmute or be heard. So if you've not gotten around to that yet, please do that. Anyone coming in is automatically muted. And that will include if you leave and come back. So on the PC, Alt A will mute and unmute your audio. That's how I remember, is Alt A for audio. On the telephone, *6 will unmute you. And on the mobile device, it should be relatively near the bottom left corner if Zoom is behaving. To raise your hand, if you'd like to ask a question, to do that on the PC, you would press Alt Y, as in, yay, I need to raise my hand. *9 on the telephone, which 9 is also the letter Y. And on the iPhone, I believe it is now under interactions. So you hit interactions and you choose raise hand. If it's not there, it may be under more, but I think interactions is where they've
It's under
moved it
reaction.
to. Reactions, I'm sorry.
It's called reactions.
And yes,
Option under reactions.
Yes. One more thing that I would like to mention is in Zoom, if you raise your hand, we will see your hand, but we may be waiting for a natural pause in the meeting. And at that time, I will let Janae know that we have hands in Zoom. But please wait until we acknowledge that, and also keep your hands raised today. The Zoom list is very, very particular today, and so anything that can be done to minimize its movement would be helpful. So even if you have something, please keep your hand raised. If I call on you and you've already got it answered, that's fine. I'll gently lower your hand. I promise I won't make it hurt. And I think that's everything. And I will rename one person while you do something else, and then I'll give the Zoom list in just a second.
Okay. First of all, I also wanted to thank you, Sean, so much for giving that nice Zoom etiquette. I appreciate it. The time is 1:09 just for our recording and records. The time is 1:09. We started the meeting around 1:05 just for our records. So now we will take attendance. I'll start in the room so that Sean can continue what he was doing with Zoom, but they will get attendance on Zoom, so we can have people go around the room. Lee's gonna bring the microphone to you, so wait till the mic is to you. We have a guest today, which is our speaker, so I will get to that in a second. So let's take attendance, please.
First, we have our president.
Yes, it's me, Janae Miller.
Treasurer Lee Tucker.
Ed Snively.
Mary Carabinas.
Melody Holloway.
Margot Muse.
Mary Lynn Pifo.
Dave Brennan.
Eve Marie Lewis. Angela Brown.
James Abernathy.
Perry Ling.
Dustin Grandstaff.
Maggie Felton.
our guest today. And that completes the room.
Okay, thank you. Sean, can we have the roll call and the Zoom, please?
Yes, I can do that. All right, in no particular order. Shirley and Lynn Roberts, Kathy Withman, Chuck Atkins, Claire Saunders, Denise Bauman, Mary Highland, Michelle Spillane, Monica Williard, Mark Brodigam, and that concludes the Zoom list at this point. Again, if anyone new comes in and I find an appropriate pause, I will let you know that as well.
No problem.
All right.
Thank you so much, Sean. We're going to do things a little bit different because our guest, Maggie, who is our speaker for today, she has a plane to catch. So we're going to let her do her presentation first, and then we're going to do our business meeting afterwards so that she can catch her plane. Maggie is going to talk to us about non-24 awake sleep syndrome, which many of us are either have or familiar with. So we're going to let Maggie talk about who she is, where she's from, what she does, and then we'll have time for questions for her so she can catch her plane. So Maggie, thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Ms. Janae, so much. And I'm just looking at the time here for myself, so I'm sensitive to everybody's time. My name is Maggie Felton. I am a nurse educator. I'm also a nurse practitioner, but in today's capacity, I'm here to share information about non-24. But before I go in there, I just wanted to just say thank you, Janae, for allowing me to go first. I appreciate that. Two, happy Mother's Day tomorrow, right? So happy Mother's Day to everyone early. I'm a mom as well, so I'm going to definitely enjoy my time tomorrow. And I have to say, I've been doing this for a long time, gosh, almost 6 years now. And I feel like I see a lot of familiar faces. Any of you remember me, know who I am? Have you heard me before? Yeah, I thought so. I'm always think I'm more memorable than I really am, but I just wanted to check. I don't remember being in this facility, but so thank you again for allowing me to come here. I wanted to just kind of start off kind of gauging who has here heard of non-24. Raise your hand. All right.
Yes.
Your hands for sure. And then who has never heard of non-24? Raise your hand. Okay, few hands. Great, wonderful. And is there anyone here that would like to share anything about non-24 before I go in? You don't have to, no pressure.
I can share a little bit.
Yay.
Non-24 is what we call a circadian rhythm disorder. It actually says non-24 awake sleep syndrome. Is typically it's a condition where people do not have a concept in their body for night versus day when it comes to your sleep pattern. That's kind of, I'm going to say that much and stop there.
Oh, look, you did my job. I'm done. I'm done. See you guys tomorrow. Thank you. Yeah, that was wonderful. So basically non-24, and that's NON, and the number 24 refers to not be able to live in a 24-hour daytime environment. Okay. And it's a sleep disorder, circadian rhythm disorder. It is a disorder that affects people who are visually impaired. Most often people who do not have any light perception, people who are totally blind, but it's not exclusive to those who are totally blind. You can have this disorder at any progression of your eyesight, and it usually manifests in familiar symptoms, should I say. The very first one is inability to fall asleep or stay asleep at nighttime. In fact, a lot of people will say when they try to go to bed at nighttime, They do everything right. They do everything right. But when they lay down, the eyes just wander. The eyes won't shut. The brain wanders, and they eventually give up. They get up and to do all sorts of things at nighttime. Raise your hand if you've done this. I'm included. Laundry, vacuuming, cleaning, doing the dishes, maybe paying the bills, going online, you name it. One time somebody told me they even mowed the lawn at midnight. Neighbors might have not been happy with it, but so your body's very active at nighttime. And in the same token, during the daytime, you have a very hard time staying awake. Okay. And most often during times when you want to stay awake. And a very classic symptoms for this that most people notice is that your sleep pattern is just different from the people around you. So very often people who suffer from this will tell you that they always feel like they can't catch up with their sleep. They're always a little bit behind. They're always a little bit tired and tired like myself right now. And by the way, you guys, if you hear an accent coming from me, yes, I know I'm hearing it myself as I'm talking. It is Polish. So I was born Polska. That's right. That's right. There's always somebody in the audience. I was born and raised in Poland. I moved here when I was 14 years old. Most of my accent goes away, but when I spend a lot of time with my folks, it comes back. And if I'm tired, so you can hear it sometimes. I can't make it go away. It is what it is. So if you hear me say something off or weird, just ignore it. Guys can laugh at me later when I leave. So this condition really can affect anybody. Young, old, at any age, men and women equally. And it's a very prevalent condition in our community. It's very prevalent. It is considered a rare disorder out there in the world, but it is a rare disorder. It's a very prevalent condition in our community. So these are just some basic facts behind it. And I know we're limited on time, so I want to just kind of pause here and take questions and to see where you guys want to take this conversation. Any questions, comments so far?
Give me just 2 seconds. Go ahead and do the room first because my JAWS, there we go. I needed to restart it. So why don't we I want to try and take one question in the room and then alternate and take another question in Zoom if we can try and do that.
Any questions for Maggie?
No questions in this room.
Any
Okay.
questions on Zoom?
Any questions
Maggie?
on Zoom?
Oh, we have
Shirley's
one in the
hand is
room.
raised.
Sean, hold on. Do you have anything in Zoom, Sean?
Yes, we do have one
So let's
in the
take the
room.
question in Zoom first.
All right, Shirley, go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My question is, do sighted people ever have this condition? And I'm kind of was getting the impression that you said you might have some form of it, and I didn't know whether you were visually impaired or not, or whether you want to say. But the main thing is, do sighted people ever have this? Because there's one person I know of who I sometimes wonder about, but I didn't know whether this was, I know it's mainly in the blindness community, but maybe you can expound on that a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Yes, some sighted people can have this disorder. So even though the reason why people have this very often is because we have special cells in our eyes, and our cells are able to detect light every single morning. But once they detect the light, there's a whole pathway that goes in the back of the brain to let the brain know it's daytime or nighttime. So that's why we often see this in people who are totally blind. However, we do have sighted people that can see the daylight, but the pathway is broken. So the message never truly gets to the brain. So the result is the same. That person is unable to tell if it's daytime or nighttime, even though they can clearly see it's daytime or nighttime, but the body is unable to recognize that. So yes, some sighted people suffer from this as well. There are other sister conditions to those. Has anyone ever worked like a third shift or a night shift? Yeah, me too. I'm one of those. Yeah, they call that shift work disorder, right? And it's a sister to the non-24. They're very similar. The only difference is when you quit working that third shift or a night shift and you go back to living in the daytime, your body is able to go back and adjust. For people with non-24, it's stuck there. It does not go back and adjust. You're living with that non-24 constantly. Does that make sense? And there are some other disorders like delayed sleep. We see that sometimes in younger generation. But yes, sighted people can have this as well. We just see it more prevalent in those who are totally blind.
Okay, we do have a question that was in the room.
Yes.
Question is,
She needs to use the mic. Oh, she needs a mic so we can hear her question.
Has it? Sure.
yes,
Oh,
Hello? Hello, hello?
Yep, you're here.
hello. My name is E. Marie Lewis, and my question is,
Yep, closer to the microphone, dear darling.
my name is E. Marie Lewis. I'd like to know, is there any pharmaceuticals that you would take for this condition?
Thank you. So the question was from E. Marie Lewis, if I said it correctly. Thank you for that. Are there any pharmaceutical treatments for this? So it's a tricky question for me because my role is really a nurse educator, and I try to stay to my area of expertise, which is educating on the condition. And I very often shy away from talking about the medicines, the treatment themselves, only because I don't want anyone out there to think I'm here selling or promoting one treatment over another. And it's definitely that is something that needs to be discussed with the provider. But yes, there is treatment available, pharmaceutical. And there's also other treatments, by the way, guys. Now I don't know if I call it treatments, but there are other things that we can do naturally, holistically, to help us optimize sleep, right? There are things that you can do to help you sleep better in general. And I'll address those in just a few minutes, but I want to continue with the questions to see if anybody had any additional questions. Yes, sir.
Hello, this is Lee. Is there a relationship between neurotransmitters and the 924 thing? Like, for example, like the amino acid tryptophan, does that have an influence, or choline?
Wow, that's a very scientific question. And I might have to say that maybe a little bit outside of my box. Yes, the neurotransmitters absolutely are involved in the process. Which ones? I don't. I'm not sure that I would know the answers if, the acetylcholine and tryptophan, if any of those would have any effect on it. Sorry, I can't answer that, but I'll look into that. Thank you.
any questions in Zoom?
I do not see any hands currently.
We have one more question here. Yep.
Yes, I have a question. Is it coming through?
Yes,
Doesn't
ma'am.
sound like it. They have a cap that shoots laser into the scalp to facilitate hair growth. I'm wondering if laser could go a little deeper into the brain, would the brain see that as light perception?
That's a good question. I wonder that too. Well, maybe we'll learn that soon with new technology coming out for sure. But the control center is in the back of the brain, the hypothalamus, right? That's the part of the brain that kind of dictates whether we sleep or whether we stay awake. And by the way, this circadian rhythm that dictates our sleep and awake cycle, it also dictates everything else that we do. For example, our body temperature is cooler at nighttime when we sleep. That's why it's always helpful to sleep in a cooler room, right? Cooler environment. Hair and nails grow at nighttime, you guys, when we are sleeping or rejuvenating. So I'm looking around. Anybody's looking to get a nice luscious hair in your head? Maybe get some extra sleep, right? Our blood pressure is controlled by our sleep-wake cycle. Really, everything that we do. So it's really important to try to optimize the sleep they were able to get. For example, and I'm just going to share with you guys some of the things that other people have shared with me to help them sleep. And you guys can chime in if you'd like and offer your suggestions or comments. But number one thing that people always share with me, what's helpful is white noise or no noise. So that white noise in the background. And some people like just like a fan noise. Some people like birds chirping. It's a very personalized approach, right? I heard cat purring before. There's all sorts of noises out there, right? And by the way, I learned that not long ago, there's all different colors. White noise, black noise, brown noise, yellow noise. There's all sorts of different colors in terms of noises. Audiobooks are very helpful. Very often people do audiobooks, and if you re-listen the same thing over and over, it's okay as long as it helps you fall asleep, right? Some people really enjoy doing a walk before going to bed. You know, what's not helpful is eating a big meal right before bed, right? We all know that. By the way, did you guys know it takes almost like 4 hours to digest a full meal? I read that the other day. So imagine if you ate a full meal and then laid flat, right? You'd probably get some acid reflux, right? So nutrition is very important. Exercise is very important. We all know that. Meditation. Anybody here meditate or pray? Pray is a form of meditation. There's little tips and tricks you can do in the middle of the night when you wake up and you're like, darn, I'm awake again and I can't fall back asleep. Now what do I do? So there's little tips and tricks to that. I do want to say, let me just glance at the time. I do want to say before, I get lost in translation here. Typically, when I do these presentations, my job really is to awareness, right? Make sure that you guys have the information available and know where to get it if you'd like to learn more. And I have to say, one of the really rewarding things is when I do this. There's folks that have heard of this condition before, maybe from me or somebody else. But you always have those new folks that never heard of it, especially with the younger ones, where they really they don't know what's wrong with them. They think there's something wrong with me. Why I cannot go to bed at nighttime? Why is everybody around me, my family, just telling me, just make yourself go to bed, right? They think it's a discipline issue, which we know it's not, right? So we talk about non-24 over and over because there are all these folks out there has never heard of it, and they don't realize it's not a norm. Just because you're going blind does not mean you're losing sleep. It is a real condition. It's treatable for those that want to be treated. So, and it comes in various degrees of symptoms. Some people just have a little bit of the symptoms. They may be okay with that, but some people have symptoms that are very strong, and it really impacts their life, right? And when everybody knows if you're not sleeping, everything else kind of falls apart, right? You're not well mentally. Mental health kind of suffers. You're forgetful about things. You forget, your best friend's phone number or your kid's phone number if you don't have a phone, back in those days. But depression, anxiety kicks in. A lot of times we're kind of trying to figure out, I can't sleep. Is it depression? Is it anxiety? How do I know? How do you know, right? So symptoms are very important, knowing the symptoms, because when you go see your doctor, a nurse practitioner, for example, like myself, they just ask you, how's your sleep, right? And very often doctors don't make that connection that you're visually impaired. Oh, maybe this is the root and cause of your sleep issues because of, the blindness or the low vision. Very often, the medical community jumps right in there into depression, anxiety, and all the other things, right? We're not really treating the root and cause. So my job is to make sure our community is aware that we know some of the things that affect us more than any other patient population. So from that perspective, I do want to tell you guys, if anyone here, I typically have these audiobooks, they're free. I give them out. I only have a handful, but I'm happy to send them out if anybody would like one. These they're talking books. You just open them up and they talk about the symptoms. It's a nice, great resource to have. So I have those at the end. Just raise your hand if you want one. I'll come around. And then we also have resources, nurses like myself, they can talk to folks for free to give them some guidance, you know, to learn more perhaps about the non-24 or some of the other sleep disorders. How does this whole process work if you were to go to see a doctor? You know, how does it navigate? There's a lot of help out there, you guys. I just, you know, not folks don't know we have it. So
I have one quick last question
yes, ma'am.
before you wrap your presentation up. Is narcolepsy in the same family as non-24?
So I want to say narcolepsy, not quite in the same family, but it's very close. I think sleep apnea, sometimes people say it's in the same family, but it's really a breathing disorder. If you snore, you probably were asked if you have a sleep apnea. If your partner told you to snore, that's a huge symptom. It tells you may have sleep apnea. But insomnia, very often insomnia and non-24, you know, they kind of come together where people are trying to figure out, is it insomnia, right? But do you have insomnia because of stress? Do you have insomnia because of anxiety? Do you have insomnia because you were put on a medication like Lasix that makes you get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom? Do you have insomnia because you fell 6 months ago and you still have some aches and pains that are not really well managed, right? So we're always looking for the root and cause of the issue. That's why it's very important when you're treating something like sleep, you go and see somebody that you know, somebody that knows you, that you trust, that you can have like the deeper conversation so they can figure out what is the root and cause. Is it insomnia for any of those reasons? Is it non-24, for example, because you know, of the lack of vision, or is it something else, right? Is it sleep apnea? Do you snore? So it's important to go and see someone that you trust. I don't know if I really answered your question.
You sort of did, but it's okay.
Somebody's got a question here.
Talking to the microphone. How is your sleep disorder different from the sleep issues that come with hyperglycemia?
With hypoglycemia? Yeah, the mechanism action behind it is very different. You know, the hypoglycemia has to do with low sugars and some hyper, right? So it has to do with things like, right, your you know, your endocrine system that controls your sugars, right? And has a whole slew of hormones that kind of go along with it. With non-24, it's regulated through hypothalamus. The signals come from a very different place.
We have a question in Zoom, Mary Highland.
Go ahead, Mary.
Hold the audio now unmuted.
Yes, I have a couple of questions. One is there a way to diagnose this condition that I can suggest to my doctor who doesn't seem to know anything about it? Because I have a real sleep problem. I'm on 2 different medications at night, and sometimes it just doesn't work, period. So I feel like I have this non-24 condition, but how do I know? That's A, and B, what is the treatment?
Thank you, Mary. Couple questions. So what you commented is it's a very common story in terms of the diagnosis, and it's a little bit challenging, and for the reason I talked about a minute ago. But the diagnosis really comes from your provider learning about the symptoms. So there's not a test. there are no good tests out there in general for sleep disorders, you guys. So that's the challenging part. So we have one test, maybe a sleep study, which is not the greatest, but that's all we have. I mean, if you're having sleep issues and they hook you up with a bunch of stuff and then they say, go ahead and sleep now, I'll watch you, you know? Like it's not great tools, but that's all we have. So very often sleep is diagnosed based on a conversation, symptoms, and ruling out different things, right? That's why I said it's important to see someone you know and you trust, and they will either exclude other things or include things to make the best possible reasonable decision about your diagnosis. And the second question is, how do you educate the doctor? So very often people will ask myself, nurses like myself, you know, I've already seen someone, they've never heard of it. I'm not sure if I'm comfortable, you know, if I know enough to talk about it. I am happy to send a brochure to the doctor's office. You know, when you walk in, you have all these brochures when you know, from different diseases. Well, I am happy to mail them a brochure anonymously to the office, right? Or so they can learn about it. And it has lots of doctor information, like clinical stuff. Sometimes people will ask me, well, can you mail one to the office? And they'll just put it in the chart. So next time you see that doctor, it's in the chart so they can, when they see you, the information is already there. So we have lots of resources available, whether it's patients or doctors. Just connect with me and I'm happy to do that. In terms of, I think the last question was treatment. Like I said, there's not a whole lot I can say about the actual treatment for this particular condition, but I know my office is happy to send a doctor the information about it. Okay. But I just don't want to give the wrong impression of promoting drugs. But that was a great question. Thank you. And feel free, is it Mary? Did I get that right? To connect with me afterwards. I'm happy to get your information and then send you the appropriate stuff.
I will make sure you guys have her information so you can email Maggie with any questions you have regarding 924.
You know, you're among those of us who are real skilled at managing our healthcare issues. One question about this disease, is this something new or is this something that's established so that if we go to the doctor and with these symptoms, it already has like a billing code type of thing?
Great question. It's not new. It's been around, gosh.
20 years.
Probably more, right? I think it was discovered like in 1940s. But the challenging part is because it's considered a rare disorder, it's very prevalent in our community. But when you go to your primary care doctor, they're treating diabetes, hypertension, you name it, right? So they may never treat someone who is totally blind the entire lifetime. And they may never make that connection between the non-20 circadian rhythm disorder and somebody who's visually impaired. And that's why it's on us, because we are our own best advocate. Do they get medical training on it in medical school? Yes, but it's a blurb. I mean, literally, it's a blurb about circadian rhythm, not a whole lot of information. Yes, ma'am. Okay, great. Yes, and that's wonderful to hear. Absolutely. But yes, do they have they got training on it? Very little. But that's not the first thing that will go in their brain as they're trying to diagnose you, because they deal with all the other conditions. Yes, there's diagnostic codes for that and all that. Absolutely.
We'll take one more question for Maggie so she can get going to the airport.
Are there any in Zoom real quick?
We have one more here, and anybody on Zoom?
Any in Zoom?
I don't see any at the moment, but I want to
We'll
give
take
folks
one
a
more
chance.
here.
Yes, ma'am.
I was just wondering, this is Mary Kay here, Carabinus. Is this related to insomnia? I mean, does that have anything to do with somebody that might have insomnia?
Yeah, so insomnia and non-24, they're two very separate conditions. You could have insomnia, you could have non-24, and you could have sleep apnea. You could have all three of them. The root and cause behind all those, it's very different pathway, right? Like sleep apnea, it's the breathing issue that's not causing your sleep. Insomnia, it's very often could be really, the root could be very different, right? Could be stress, anxiety, medication, backaches, lots of things could be, and insomnia can affect anyone really. Non-24, very prevalent in those who are visually impaired, but the root and cause, it's really the body not able to capture that light and not knowing when it's daytime or nighttime, and that's the reason. And the sleep pattern shifts a little bit every day for someone who has non-24. With insomnia, you typically not sleeping around the same time or you're waking up around the same time is a little bit more predictable. I hope that answered it. They're not easy to differentiate. They're not. That's why it's such a challenging thing out there in the community. But it's a great question.
We want to thank Maggie for coming and speaking to us today. You got to give a round of applause.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys allowing me to hijack your meeting early. And maybe I'll see some of you guys at the ACB convention in Dallas.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yep, I'm
Yes,
going.
I hope so. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to stay here just for a few minutes. Anyone that would like just some information or brochure, raise your hand. I'll come around and make sure. Yes. I have their talking books, and then I can mail you a large print and Braille as well if you like. So thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate it. Enjoy this gorgeous day.
All right. Anybody that wants one of those, let her know. We're going to transition into our meeting.
We have a number of people who have arrived since then.
Oh, so we need to take more attendance.
Kimberly Ruff has arrived in Zoom since we're talking about attendance.
Okay. So
All right.
Kimberly, we have Kimberly Ruff. Okay. Hello, Kimberly. Anyone else arrived in Zoom?
No, just her.
Okay. So we're going to get the attendance of those who came to the room.
Oh, hello, this is Gail Baldwin.
This is Tanya Walker. Hello, everybody.
Oh, I was in the attendance. Okay, Marilyn Pifo.
James, yeah. Okay, so Tanya Walker and James Abernathy and E. Marie Lewis. E. Marie, yes. Marilyn Pifo's here, yes.
Yes. Okay. Do we have everything?
Yeah.
Okay. All righty. So we're going to transition now into the our meeting, everybody. And first thing on our agenda after attendance is, has everybody had a chance to look at the meeting minutes from last month's meeting?
And if you need to change I have 144 if it needs to be, put in that since we've switched over.
Okay, 144. Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
And actually, one more thing. When we get to PHP, Denise is having a little bit of trouble. If she's not able to get Zoom working, I will call her on my phone and put her through the mixer, and we will
That's
do
fine.
it that way.
That's
But
perfectly fine.
hopefully she can get it. She's having trouble finding her okay, got it, record thing. So if we need to use the marvels of technology to bring her in third party, we will do that.
Okay, that's fine. So are there any corrections regarding the meeting minutes from last month's meeting? I'm not hearing anybody respond.
We do not. We don't have any responses in Zoom
Either.
currently.
Would
No.
someone like to make a motion to accept the meeting minutes as written?
Sean Theo, I may move.
Lee Tucker, I second.
Okay, so Sean has made a motion. Lee has second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, the motion has passed. Thank you. Now we will move on to the treasurer's report. Mr. Tucker?
And this is the financial report for May 9th, 2025. Yes, there is. For the period April 12th to May 9th, 2025, the checking account ending balance is $14,563.57, increase of $4,813.80. Deposits are $5 for membership from ACB Ohio. Columbus Foundation, $4,992.91. Yay. And a coffee fundraiser, which I shouldn't have signed up for, but there's $12 from that. So anyhow, but well, we weren't doing that, but hey, anyway, I actually read the newsletter and, you know, it's stumps, you know, as they say in the vernacular, shit happened. Well, anyway, so,
Okay.
yeah. And then expenses, we have AT&T as our phone line is $16.11. Next month, it goes up to $16.19. Oh gosh. Anyway, the engagement benefit is $180 cash was gotten for that. Charge card, we have an ending balance out there of $497.74. Previous balance was $300, which was Kroger cards. And the charges this month is $75.75 for Columbus Parks and Recreation. Who knows why that 75 cents is there, but it is. And $121.99 for summer picnic pop and utensils. Payment of $300 will be made on the charge card on the 19th, approximately, depending on HNB and how they actually do things, which seems to change from month to month. The People Helping People account ending balance is $2,432.76, an increase of $33 from the pennies donation. And savings account is $500.54, no change. And the CD, which matures sometime in July 25, has unpaid interest of $150.70. The Columbus Foundation, there's a note about that later. The estimated market value as of May 9th is $87,914.28, which is a loss since December 31st of $8,905.54. Now, the sum of grants that we got from the Columbus Foundation which is now complete, is $6,388.74. So if you look at that, then the loss because of the market stuff is around $2,500, whereas the grants we received was $6,388. So you can see how that worked together. And the total incomes, to comparison purposes, the total income deposited in the checking account for the chapter last year was $6,935.40. And the year-to-date payout of the engagement benefit is $520. And ongoing, the Columbus Foundation grants this year and future years will all be received in the spring. And this year, the grants consist of income and capital gains. And in future years, the chapter, depending on how we want to do this, we may decide to continue to receive grants composed of both income and capital gains, or forego capital gains and depend on income only. A decision to be made in future by board discussion and stuff like that. So that concludes my report.
Any questions for Mr. Tucker?
The number changed on the loss. The number
There you
changed
go.
on the losses that you're reporting. I heard 2,000. Can you repeat that number, please?
It's different from December 31st. It's an $8,905. But then if you subtract what the Columbus Foundation gave us, it's around $2,400 decrease since the beginning of the year. And every quarter you will see a loss or a gain in the documents that gets published depending on what happens in the market, and also our grants will show. Like in June, we will see both grants go into a minus line. You will see that. So you will see that 6,300 and some extra dollars.
Okay, so the losses you're reporting to us are for January, February, March, correct?
No, what I'm reporting is the latest on May 9th, but I don't have a document I can publish. All I can do is look at the webpage that they publish.
Okay, tell me that number one more time.
It's $87,914.28
Because I have
total.
a document that was sent to me that said 94, and now it's down to 87.
Say again, I didn't get it. You're still not close enough to the
Okay.
microphone.
I've gotten several documents in the email, and I'm considering being in training for your treasurer, so I have to be clear. I have a document that quoted 94,000 after our last finance meeting, and now I hear you saying 87,000. Am I hearing you correctly?
That sounds right, because see, now they've paid us 2 grants totaling $6,388, so that would be deducted from the $94,000 that we had before.
Okay, but give me the number for the investment losses, since we've got this new issue with tariffs and a new political economy policy. You have a new number for that?
I didn't understand the question. Can you again be
Okay,
closer
I
to
want to know the losses from the investment funds.
Well, the number that you're $94,000 is back in what, March 31st? Is that the one you're looking at?
It's the one that you sent me.
Okay. Well, I sent you several. I sent several to the chapter. If you subtract the amount of grants we had up through May 9th, that's $6,400. And then also there's a change in the market values of the fund of about $2,500.
There's a change
Does that
in the
make
market.
sense?
Yes, it makes sense. Yeah, I've got a
Okay.
BS degree in one of these areas. So you're saying the market value change, okay, and that lowers the amount of the return on our investment money.
Long term, yes, because the more grants we get, see, that's why I mentioned if we receive grants which are composed of income and also a grant composed of capital gains, which were separate this year because we had to educate Columbus Foundation about how the heck they were supposed to do it. $1,400 was income. That was the first grant. And the second grant was almost $5,000, and that was capital gains.
Okay, well, my point is that as a chapter and as a group of low vision, diabetic, and legally blind and totally blind adults, to watch the differences in what happens on a monthly basis over this year of new tariff issues and the loss of some of our Medicaid, Medicare, and all these other issues going on, and I think is very important. And I'm not attacking you, Lee. You do a wonderful job. I'm just a little bit concerned about the losses with the investment. That's all.
Well, yeah, but that's the same thing as saying there's smoke and mirrors out there. Because I mean, what do we? If anyone is here, Mike Russell would probably know the best about what's going on. And I mean, I watch, look at the Wall Street Journal and stuff like that about my own investments, and I record at the end of every week what my amount of money funds I have in my mutual funds. So you can watch it, but how do we influence?
Well, you're talking about $87,000, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a lot of money.
It is.
Okay, and over the course of my career, okay, working for 2 governors, you can do a variety of different things with $87,000 if we have members whose well-being and goals and objectives are going to be threatened or intimidated over these next 3 years under the current administration. And you're talking about 140% tariff on things coming in and out of China, fights with Canada, and like I know I have medical equipment for my diabetes that comes from Britain. And they've jumped, just my testing equipment, jumped from $27 to $32. We can talk about that another time, but I just thought I'd bring that up in the meeting.
So Tanya, we're we're going to be doing some more work with the foundation based on the fact that they have done a lot of transitioning to even look at what we're getting. So, he's just reporting what we have currently. We can have a deeper discussion about that. That's kind of why we have a finance committee, so we can kind of take a deeper dive.
Yeah, I understand.
So, any other questions for Lee outside of Tanya? Any questions on Zoom for Lee?
I do not currently see any. Let's give him about 20 seconds just to make sure.
Oh, and I want to thank you for your questions too, because, Tanya, because that's around the discussion we need to have about whether we want to have grants which are composed only of income, which would be like, or income and capital gains, which would mean that our fund that's in the Columbus Foundation would increase more than if we just if we take both out. I didn't say that very well, but I mean, that's the decision that I want to see the chapter make consciously, because it got made way back in 2001 how we do things now. And we didn't know how it was. When I became treasurer, I didn't know how it was done. It just kind of happened every month. And then over there, when they changed their software out, they forgot how they paid us. So we didn't get any money. So we both, the Columbus Foundation and myself, had to educate each other about how the heck it was supposed to get done. So in the future, we can make a conscious decision about whether we want our fund out there in Columbus Foundation to increase more by leaving the capital gains in it, or whether we want to keep doing what we're doing. And keep doing what we're doing results in our fund staying about the same dollar-wise, but decreasing relative to purchasing power. So.
I do not see any hands in Zoom.
Okay.
Thank you.
time.
Thank you, Sean.
Okay.
We're having a little discussion. Hold on a second.
Okay.
So,
You want me to speak now or wait?
huh?
Tanya can speak now.
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I am keeping the Columbus Foundation in mind because if our monies are giving them any money at all, I'm keeping them in mind for a table talk task force event with their staff and our chapter. And they can donate $10 for that event, and we get that money back into the chapter. Did you hear me? No. Okay. I'm
You
sitting
have to
next to
put it really
Angela.
close to your mouth. It's like within 1 inch.
Next to Angela, and so far Angela and I are like committed to this table talk sculpture event as our chapter grows. All right. And I'm watching the Columbus Foundation to participate in some type of table talk art event. And I did get a response from 2 grant coordinators. I did list our chapter as a target group, and it has moved to the 4th stage at the Ohio Arts Council. So I will keep you informed.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you. But I do plan to have Stephen Moore come and do a presentation because he did one for ACB Ohio last year at some point, and I think it's worth us hearing that and asking him some more pointed questions. Some of the questions that you're having, Tanya, I want you to be able to ask him so he can answer it, so all of us can hear what's going on with our money. Oh, I understand it. I'm the same way.
I worked on the Governor's Council on People with Disabilities under Governor George Voinovich. And on our desk, on our table, were thousands and thousands of dollars in grants and fundings and budget for all type of disabled people in the state of Ohio. And despite the anti-DEI movement in some places in people's minds, it's not going to happen around here. I'm getting good feedback as far as our state is concerned in special community art and outreach events. Just thought I'd share that.
Thank you, Tanya. So at this point, yes, that's what Gary say. I would like someone to please make a motion to accept Mr. Lee Tucker's report as he has read it.
Okay, let me know when you're ready for a comment.
Oh, we still have comment. All right.
Okay, we got more comments? Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, if you want any other person to speak at the meeting about investments that are doing very well, let me know.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, if you want to go ahead and start
That was
looking,
Mary Lynn.
yeah. If you want to start working on that, Mary, that would be great because we do need the information. So by all means.
Okay, so it's just if you're interested, I'll ask him if he wants to speak, but only if you wish that.
Yes, I'm okay with him coming to speak. Knowledge is power, and that's what we need right now. So again, I'm asking if there's any other comments, because we want to kind of move through the rest of our agenda since we had a different start today. We'll take one more comment or question before we have someone make a motion for Lee's report. This will be the last one. Eat it. Eat the mic.
I need some additional help. So after the meeting, I'd like to speak to someone that can help me with my computer and to be able to press the buttons on the I-13 so that I can get services. Thank you.
Okay. We will make sure you get some help, okay? Thank you. So again, would someone like to make a motion regarding Lee's treasurer report?
I move that we accept the report as read.
Okay, wait a minute. Sean, we're gonna let Mary,
Okay.
because she grabbed it first. And Sean, you want to second it?
Sure.
I'm gonna let Sean second it, Gail, because he would. So Mary Lynn has made a motion that we accept Lee's treasury report. Sean Field has seconded. All
Not accurate. That's Gail Baldwin that motioned and Sean seconded.
okay. So it was Gail that motion. Okay, I thought it was Mary. I heard it was Gail. Okay, so Gail Baldwin made the motion, and Sean is seconding it. I apologize for hearing the wrong voice. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion has carried. Thank you. Very riveting discussion here. Yes.
Now, remember, you're still good. Next year, somebody else gonna have to do the treasurer job because I stopped December 31st. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Tanya's jockeying for the job. So, now we're going to move on to our community reports. So the first community report I'd like to have is the Sunshine Committee, or anybody from our Sunshine Committee here. Do you all have a report?
Yes.
Kathy is here.
This is Kathy.
Hi.
And actually, I have two other people are also going to speak, but I'll start it out.
That's fine.
And I talked to Larry Hanscom this week, and he told me that he kind of told me what was going on with Nikki, and she walks either with a walker or with a cane. She has had some problems with her breathing, and she has had her lung drained, and then she also has a stent in one of her arteries. And so Larry was saying that, one thing after another happens, but they're doing okay. But to top it all off, now Larry has skin cancer. He has a tumor
on his cheek, and the tumor is too close to the carotid artery to do surgery. So he's receiving some infusion therapy, and the therapy is to, I think it's to stimulate the immune system to shrink the tumor. And he has already had maybe 2 infusions, and I think he has 2 or 3 more to go. So that's the report I have about the Hanskins. And then I don't know if Denise is available with her computer.
Is Denise there?
Denise,
I'll need to see. Were you able to get the record button, Denise, where you can just take a look here?
and then
I'm
Mary's
unmuted,
gonna
Sean.
There you go. Okay.
You wanted me to speak now, Kathy?
Yes, please. Thank
Sure.
you.
Kathy had asked, are you going to say something, Janae? Okay. Kathy had asked if I would give a report on an update, a Vicky Prayan update. So I saw her yesterday at her home, so she's enjoying being back home.
Yay, Vicky.
And she got to take a shower, which just made her feel more gleeful than just about anything for a while, just to feel really clean hair and a clean body in the way of a shower. And yeah, I think she's getting used to how to, maintain her balance and navigate the house and that kind of thing. But she's very determined to find ways to make it work, and it's thus far working for her. So that's the good news report.
Yay. That's a
Thank you.
sunshine. Yay.
Yes, definitely. That's wonderful to hear.
Yay. Thank you, Denise.
You're
Yay.
welcome.
Is there any other reports for Sunshine Committee?
Mary Highland has something.
Okay, I sent Paul Purnell a sympathy card for the loss of Denise, and there's a slight snafu with that. It was returned to me because the person that I had addressed the card had written one of the numbers incorrectly. So I sent it again, and then I sent Paul an email asking him to let me know if he got the card, the gift card and the sympathy card. So, but I haven't heard anything. If anybody
Denise
else has
Villarreal?
any, Denise Villarreal.
Okay.
Yeah, Mary, I don't think Paul actually has access to a computer to read email. So
Oh, okay. Then I'll make a phone call then, see if that'll reach him.
I have a comment. Oh, there it is. Paul's niece gets all his mail, and she's the one with the computer, I believe. But also, I talked to Barbara Corner, and she's having issues with her bioducts, I guess. And they're not draining. She's got external tubes draining it. She's had them for almost 2 years.
Oh.
But she said they capped them off, and she hasn't had any symptoms, so maybe it'll work this time. But she's doing pretty good. The end.
She's good for the shape she's in, right?
Those okay. That was that Gail. That was talking.
Gail.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you, Gail. Is that everything for the Sunshine Report?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, thank you so much. Denise, do you have anything for the PHP report?
Just that one person requested an application, but haven't heard back. The other one person I've been trying to reach, but somebody new describing some different eye conditions and wanting to make connections with other people who are blind. So I'll be following up on that again.
Okay. Thank you, Denise. Appreciate it. Mr. Tucker, Finance Committee.
Well, we really sort of
We kind of sort of
talked
did
about
that.
that.
Yeah, we kind of sort of did.
I'll just small capsule summary. I mean, we had a meeting Thursday, on Tuesday and Wednesday, and a grand total of eight of us. Like, I unloaded, did a data dump on top of all of them. So anyway, so Tanya was there, Mike Russell was there, Janae was there, and a few other folks. So anyhow, so that was basically an information session, and I'm glad to get at least even 8 people, that many people there, because that's what 12% of the chapter. So there. Anyway, so that's all the action for last month. This month, you and I will talk about board meetings or whatever.
Yes,
So,
we will.
okay.
We will for sure. Thank you so much. Michelle Spillane, ACB Ohio report.
Hey. Okay. Let's see here. Like Maggie alluded to, we've got the National Convention in Dallas. That's just around the corner, July 4 to 11. And registration opens Thursday. The theme is Big Dreams, Bold Ideas. And you can find out more at acbconvention.org. Next year's National Convention will be in St. Louis, FYI. And then we have the state convention, which will be in Cleveland this year, or the Cleveland area. It's actually Strongsville. That's just outside of Cleveland. And the dates for that are November 14 to 16. Still working out the details for that. And I'll have more on the, our speakers and workshops coming soon. In the state office, we've been focusing on scholarships recently. We received 11 applications for scholarships, which I guess is a record.
Yay.
Yay! And so now the scholarship committee is reviewing the applications and the credentials and the transcripts and the recommendation letters, all that. We've been interviewing the candidates, and probably in a week or so, we're going to make our final decisions on who gets the scholarships. So we have one scholarship called the Friends of Freshmen Scholarship for blind or visually impaired incoming freshmen, obviously. And then we have the ACB Ohio scholarships, and we're not sure how many of those we're going to give out, probably around 3. We wanted to look at the candidates and, see how many applications we get and go from there before setting an actual amount that we're going to give out. So it's scholarship time. And we did the scholarship committee did a kind of a reconfiguration of the scholarships and how to apply, and a bigger marketing push, because we weren't getting a lot of applications, usually around 4 or so. So it was great that we got 11 applicants this year. And in addition to the scholarships that ACB Ohio gives out directly, we have 3 endowed scholarships, one at OSU, one at Wright State, and one at University of Toledo. And those were established like over 20 years ago with a big endowment from ACB Ohio, and the universities chipped in some money as well. And the scholarship comes from the interest from the big endowments, and those will go on in perpetuity. And the universities pick the scholarship recipients. We don't have input on those, but so we have the scholarships that ACB Ohio gives out directly, and then we have the 3 endowed scholarships. I actually went to Wright State like a month ago. They had a scholarship reception and got to meet the ACB Ohio scholarship winner. So that was cool. Very impressive young lady. But yeah, scholarship time is here. Let's see. Oh, the Sports and Rec Committee did something really cool. You probably heard me talk about the new Braille Trail at Hogback Ridge Park in Sunbury. And just to recap, like the park called the office like over a year ago and said they were, creating this trail. Can we give any input? And so I shared that with the Sports and Rec Committee, and they got together with the park leaders who are making the trail. We took a drive up there, and our members gave some input on what would be helpful, what would be some safe ways to create the trail. And well, anyway, so in April, a group of us went up to see the trail and how it's finished, it's open now. We walked the trail. Mary and Dustin went, so they can chime in. And so it's a short trail. It's about a third of a mile, but there's a rope guide along the trail to keep you on the trail. There's a tactile map at the beginning. There's a few signs along the trail that point out different things. And they're in large print, they're in Braille, and they also have little like 3D tactile little sculpture things so you can feel what they're describing. Like one of them's, I think, a woodpecker, and then one is and you can feel the little like they've got a bird head and bird feet that you can feel. One of them is wildflowers, and one is a special kind of tree bark. So that was cool to actually see how the trail actually came to life. And maybe the Columbus chapter could plan an outing and walk the trail and maybe have a picnic. It's a very gentle trail. It is gravel, barely any hills, but I wish it was longer, but that's just me. So there's the Hogback Ridge Braille Trail in Sunbury.
Okay. Michelle, is that a Franklin County Metro Park?
It is not. It's it's called Preservation Parks. I think it's a Delaware County thing.
Oh, it's Delaware County. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, matching grants. Wanted to remind everyone that ACB Ohio has the matching grants available to help you purchase assistive technology. It will pay for half the cost of one item up to $1,000. You just have to reside in Ohio and be blind or low vision. Some recent purchases have been Braille note takers, magnifiers, of course, and meta glasses. Renee from Cleveland bought some meta glasses, and she actually had an article in the last Ohio Connection newsletter about how they help her, the advantages, the limitations, pros and cons, and so keep the matching grants in mind, and you can apply online. You can call the office, and I will fill out the application for you. It's a very simple application. We're going to be doing Fall Fest again for the 3rd year. at the end of September, working out the details on that. And that will be in Worcester. The Worcester Fest will be going on, and there's also hiking, fishing, parks, walking at parks, that kind of thing. There's possibly going to be archery, but we're still working out the details for Fall Fest.
Being the targets.
Newsletter deadline is this Thursday, May 15th. So if there's something you'd like to share with ACB Ohio membership, please submit it. You can just send it to me, acbo.director@gmail.com. I think that's all I have.
We do have a question in Zoom whenever
Yes.
Sure.
you'd like to take it. Mark Brodigan.
Hold on, we got it. We have one in Zoom.
Mark *9 or *6, please, to unmute. Okay, why don't we take... There you are.
Okay, good enough. I was going to bring it later on. This is a good time to bring it up. Well, outcome activities there. I brought this up a year ago. When you call the ACB number, you punch 1 for activities coming up. I brought it up a year ago. It talks about the Ohio, Indiana upcoming meeting of 2023. And then it talks about more of the upcoming fall events of 2023. 2 years ago. Can you imagine somebody calling a number and getting stuff like this on the hotline? And they said last year, they said, well, a person is doing these updates, activities, quit doing it offhand. Nobody took its place. And they said, well, don't take care of it. Still 2 years old activities on the punch 1. Somebody could, like yourself, take care of all these new upcoming events.
What is the number?
What's going on. The 470-2226, and you punch 1 for upcoming activities.
This is a Columbus chapter information line. So I know it's something that needs to be sorted. We haven't quite figured out how we're going to do that yet. I'm glad you are reminding us
Somebody
because
could,
it has...
a good person take over that and just update this number instead of having 2 years old stuff on there.
Yeah, it's something we've been trying to figure out how to make it work.
Okay.
Okay.
Mary Carabinas.
Okay.
Yeah, hi. I wanted to remind everybody about the American Council for Ohio new or Voice Corps update, which is the first Wednesday of the month at 11 o'clock. It's always very informative. And we also are, I guess they're going quarterly with the members at large meeting. So the next one is in June. So it'll be the Thursday before our meeting. I don't have date right here, but they're only going quarterly now for the members at large.
And we decided instead of having like a speaker or something, and we would just call it membership social, where you just call in and it's just informal opportunity to get to know membership across Ohio. And so last time was the first time we tried that format, and people really seemed to enjoy it, to just get to know who's out there and other ACB Ohio members across the state.
Is it no longer like a speaker each time? Has that changed? That's what's changed?
Yeah.
Okay.
We kind of saw that when we had speakers, we didn't have a lot of attendance. So we're trying something different to see if we can get some more engagement. So the social thing is working so far.
So does that mean it repeats every 3 months so I can fix my calendar event?
Yes.
That would be okay.
Roughly
I'll
once a
fix
quarter.
that. Okay, I'll fix mine.
Yep,
Thanks.
roughly once a quarter. Yep.
All right, thank you.
Hello,
Great.
Michelle.
Hello.
How are you, Michelle? This is Tanya.
Hi there.
Hi, I just have a couple questions.
Yeah.
Okay, for the November ACB Ohio convention, I really would like to move forward on what you and I and Angela
The audio now
with
unmuted.
some type
Mute.
of
Host
tabletop
Mute. Host
party event. I'm trying to find out, is there a timeline for me to submit a proposal to you?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
I said I wanted to move forward with interactive groups and activities for the state convention with the table talk sculpture events. Remember we talked about the creative sculpture table talk?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm asking you, is there a deadline for me to submit a proposal to you? Or how do I present that so we can move forward for November? November is a good timeline because, you know, I'm still one of the registered and studio artists with the Ohio Arts Council. And,
Hey, I have an idea. Why don't we have a monthly convention planning call? Maybe you could join us on that and talk about, you know, your idea. And I will give you the contact information for that, the Zoom link. But I'm going to mention that to our convention planning co-chairs, and we'll go from there.
wonderful, because there are opportunities waiting. Opportunities waiting.
I like it. Let's do it.
And Janae, I want to piggyback on one thing. There's the matching grant program, but there's also the People Helping People program.
Yes.
Of the Columbus chapter. And we're Sir Picky, and we only give away $500, up to $500 per an object. But you can apply by sending something to Denise Bauman's email, dbauman@columbus.rr.com. And or you can send it to me and we'll figure out a way. Also, I generally go to the vision loss support group with forms in hand, so I tend to pass them out there. And I see your hand up, E. Marie, and I will be getting to you on this because I heard your plea. So,
Okay. Mary or Dustin, does anybody want to add anything to what Michelle said about the trail?
Yeah, I was really happy with the trail. I mean, it was a lot of fun. They had also made a bathroom there for disability, you know, wider doorways for wheelchairs. And I understand there was a family that used to own that land, and they had a house on the land, and they sold the land, I guess, to the Parks and Rec, and then their house was made into a place where you could meet, and that's where we had our snacks and little patio to sit around and talk. So that was really nice. But the whole day was we were there a couple hours, and it was very nice.
It's good to hear. Good to hear. Okay, thank you, everybody, for the ACB Ohio report. So now we're gonna kind of move to old business, and the old business is talking about the our wonderful summer picnic that is coming up in July. Oh, forgot one more thing. So, Lee, want to mention about the registration for the convention?
yes. Since registration is coming up for the National Convention, we have for 2 or 3 years running, the Columbus chapter has been paying for the registration fee for chapter members or visually impaired residents of the Central Ohio area. And this year, the registration fee is $55 for members and $70 for non-members. So I would like to make a motion that the Columbus chapter support attendance of chapter members or visually impaired residents of Central Ohio to attend the ACB National Convention by reimbursing for the registration fee of $55 for members or non-members the fee of $70. Discussion.
Both. If we have the money to do it, I think it's a good idea.
He's giving me the mic. The question was, is it a virtual attendance or physical attendance? And Lee's answer was both. I'm interested in a virtual attendance.
And Sean, since we have our budget now, we have funding for $7,000, and historically we spent about $700 on this.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Yeah, that's a good question though, because that's
Yes.
what you gotta think about.
If I understand correctly, that fee is an administrative fee regardless of how you attend. So whether you attend virtually or in person, I think that $55 or $70 fee any attendee pays regardless of whether they show up in person or virtually is my understanding.
I believe that's correct.
Can I speak now?
You have a question or a comment?
Yes, my question is, how do you apply initially to be in the membership? Because this is my first time coming here, and I'm not sure that I'm not sure the process of joining.
Okay.
I'd like to fill out the application today.
Lee Tucker, our
I
treasurer,
will.
can help you with that.
I will come to you with that.
Yes, Lee's going to help
Okay.
you with that. We have gained a new member today, everybody.
I don't see anything in Zoom. I would like to put forward the motion that the chapter reimburse the $55 member for ACB National or $70 non-member ACB registration administrative fee to those who provide proof thereof.
So you seconded it because Lee made the motion. So you're making.
Oh no, I thought he said that he needed a motion be made that he couldn't do it. So
I was making it.
He was
I
making the
oh, you were making it. Okay.
Yes.
Well then, okay. Well then I'll second it.
Okay, we're seconding it. It's second.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I can't even talk. Second ding ding. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say.
That thing, yes.
One of those things, yeah.
Okay. So any discussion before we say anybody have any other comments before we vote here?
And I would actually like to receive proof that you actually did apply. That would be nice, you know. So
Where do we get the application, Lee?
that's in the ACB email. Can
Oh, no, we can't. I can't search through all that email.
yeah.
You're talking about for the convention?
Yeah.
You can apply online and you can I'll make sure you have the information, Tanya. You can also call Janet Dickerman. She'll be happy to register you.
I just
as
need
well.
something in bold, large print, please.
Yeah. So we'll work on that. I'll make sure you get registered.
Yeah, that's one of the things that doesn't work extraordinarily well is forwarding email from ACB into the local chapter email, because often that gets trashed by the Spectrum people or maybe other email providers for all I know. So
Yeah. If you go to acbconvention.org, they do have people that will help register over the phone.
Yeah.
I also do have, when you are ready for it, I have a question from Shirley in Zoom.
Oh, go ahead. Let Miss Shirley talk. Miss Shirley.
Just a quick comment. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, people were asking about registration. Registration opens up this Thursday, the 15th. But there is a page on the site where you can browse the convention and look at everything that's going to be held. It's there now. But the registration live actually opens up on the 15th to members and on the 22nd to non-members. And if you for some reason or other want to join as even like a member at large, you can do that, and that would save a little bit, on your registration. So that's a possibility also. But obviously, if somebody joins the chapter here, that's even better. So anyway, that might be helpful to some people to know. And Janet will help anybody register that needs help, that isn't comfortable doing it online themselves.
Yes. Thank you, Shirley. Yeah, registration is closed, I believe, on June 15th. Just so you know.
In order to register online, you can first send an email to convention. I'm sorry, I can't project.
You're actually hearable.
Okay, thank you for that. In order to get the information for the convention, you go to Convention Plus subscribe at acblist.org. Then if you don't have an account with ACB National, you go to members.acb.org and create an account, or you can call I think it's the number left me. I'm having some mini strokes or seizures or something. That's one of the issues going on here. The Minneapolis office, and they'll help you. And then
Oh, that number I do have.
Okay.
That number is 612-332-3242. 612-332-3242.
Okay. Yay. Okay. So let's move on and talk about
We need to.
wait, we got to vote. That's right. So all in favor of the motion to support members, reimbursing the members who attend the national convention, all based on Lee's motion, and Sean was the one that I can't.
Seconded.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
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 If anybody, any opposed? Okay, the motion has passed.
Question, not on the motion, just general question. I heard
Okay,
somebody say.
we have one more piece of business to deal with before we finish the meeting, and that's to talk about the picnic. And then not Mike Russell, Julie, I believe, has something to say, but we want to talk about the picnic. Angela, would you like to talk about your work with the picnic?
Yeah, hi. I just want to give a quick update about the picnic. For the people who did not get the email or didn't see the email, I should say, the picnic is going to be July 26th. And the park, we actually have the time from 10 to 3, but it's going to take people time to set up. So I said like 11 to 3. And I built up a little bit of suspense, but Dan Kelly is going to cook the meats for us, hot dogs, hamburgers. He's going to fry chicken, and he's going to smoke a pork butt. I think it's a pork butt. So for like pulled pork. And the one thing I did find out is, we are going back to the shelter house we went to last year at the Park of Roses. We
That should
chose
be
that
shelter house
option.
number 1.
Oh, shelter house number 1. Okay. And we're going to ask somebody with vision to put a bit of signage out so that the mainstream will not have a hard time finding it this year. And anybody, whatever modes of transportation that are going to be conveying people will not have an issue this year. And,
I'm going to take care of the signage stuff, Angela. Me and Drew will do that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And the other thing is there is no electricity at the shelter house. So if you bring a crock pot, hopefully you have like the thermal sleeve that will protect it and you keep it warm, keep you from getting burned. Maybe, I don't know, we'll have to talk amongst the people who are helping me put this together if we can have some like ice chest, like if you bring cold salads, deviled eggs, whatever, to put that kind of stuff on ice to keep us safe. Nobody wants to get sick. And we'll just have to make it work. Now, they did say we could have a generator. I don't know anybody with a generator, but if we need it, I guess we might be able to find somebody with one. No, but so I'm trying to think. Anything else?
We're gonna need to start. We're asking people if they would either do one of two things. Since Dan is taking care of cooking the meat and that sort of thing, we would like people to either do one of two things. You can either donate $10 towards helping us get sides, dishes, or if you want to cook or buy side dishes, you can. And we want you to kind of maybe think about when you're cooking or buying it so kind of like it's for 12 to 15 people so that we kind of have enough to go around.
Oh yeah, I want to say something. Yeah. So I mean, because because I started it, we started in time. Again, maybe like July. I mean not July. I'm sorry. Maybe around the end of June, we'll try to get a pretty accurate head count to let everybody know, so that way you can adjust yourself accordingly to how much you try to bring. Of course, we're not having one person bring enough for 40. But if 3 people bring enough, that will cover, so.
We have a comment, yes.
I'd like to make a motion for ball game, relay game. So we're not always sitting and just eating. But, I used to teach special ed, and you can get in lines and have teams of 3 with different type of balls and do ball races. So we're up moving around a little bit. So if I can make a motion that we get some prizes for maybe 3 games, I think that would be beneficial for everybody.
Okay, what was your motion again, Tanya? I can really hear.
I make a motion that we use the treasurer to buy 3 prizes for 3 ball game races at the picnic. So people are up moving around and can get a prize for some type of ball game. And I'll talk to Angela more about that.
So let's have some discussion. Is anybody interested in what Tanya's suggesting? Anybody have any questions or comments around her motion? Anybody interested, not interested?
I know some people aren't going to have the physical ability to do that. So that's something to think about.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Well, finally, I just wanted to say that I'm a licensed massage therapist, and I'd like to offer my services at the picnic. Okay.
Okay, hold on. Who's talking?
E-
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure.
Hi, this is E. Marie Lewis.
Okay.
Hello, this is E. Marie Lewis, and I'd like to offer my services as a massage therapist. For what date is it?
The picnic is July 26th.
July the 26th. I'm having trouble with pressing the 9 on the cell phone, but Lee said Lee is capable of helping me deal with that. Thank you.
Okay, so let's go back.
Okay, here I got the mic. I'm talking about the big exercise ball. Have you guys heard about them? You get them from Amazon. You can sit on them. You can trade them, go up and down the line. Like I give it to Angela. Angela gives it to Mary. Mary gives it to Jeanette. And you have to come up and back down the line. You have to race. That's one type of ball race. But if we get the ball and whoever wins take them, then they can take that exercise ball home and exercise with it. And sometimes they can be, $50, $60, or $70 on Amazon.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like Sean said, I don't know if everybody's gonna have the physical capacity to do that. Based on, I don't know.
Some of them come with handle. So I just thought I'd make a suggestion.
But see, depending on what the group wants, if you guys want to do that, that's fine. Yeah. Now, so she's putting a motion out there, so it's up to the group if that's something you guys want to do at the picnic. That's why I'm asking you, any questions, any discussion, any concerns?
I will take Zoom host privilege. And just say that is not something that I would be terribly interested in. I don't know about other people, but
Okay. So let's just table that for now, Tanya, because not sure.
I'm going to say this. I understand having some activities I mean, it is a picnic. We would like people to have fun. I know currently we're putting a playlist together, and Dan is going to bring his it's called a block party. It's like a big speaker. He said he has a smaller version so that we can, play some music, and we are being sensitive to different musical tastes. Let me just put it that way. So it won't be all one thing or the other. To be a nice mix that should be something for everyone to enjoy. But again, we have a little bit of time. So if you guys think of activities that might be fun to do during the picnic, please, shoot me an email or Janae or Lee, and we'll try to remember to talk about it at the next meeting, and we can kind of pinpoint some things. And I mean, everybody just kind of sat around last year. I think they had fun though, just getting to see people that you haven't seen in a while. So it might just be that too, But anyway, all right. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. So, so we can kind of wrap down our meeting. So would someone like to make a motion and we adjourn the meeting?
This is Sean. I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, Sean has made a motion. Angela has seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Everybody,
Thank you.
meeting's adjourned.